All right, today we're gonna look at the LG SC9S. They also call it the LG SoundBar C. They say it's the perfect match for the LG OLED Evo C series, so the C2, C3, C4. The LG SC9S system comes with the soundbar itself, a subwoofer, and it comes with what they call the LG OLED Synergy bracket. It's a bracket that mounts to your existing LG C series television, so you can either use it as a stand with the soundbar, or if you want to mount it on the wall, the soundbar will hang perfectly below the television itself. The LG SoundBar C, aka the SC9S, is a 3.1.3 channel system. So it means it has 3 speakers in the front, 1 subwoofer, and 3 speakers pointing up for the Dolby Atmos sound. The system itself is 400 watts, but if you want to, you can also add rear surround sound system, which is their optional SPQ8-S speaker kit. That's an additional 2-channel 140 watt surround sound expansion system. So it'll be somewhat wireless, and it'll add 2 more channels to it, so you'll have a 5.1.3 channel system. In this video, I'm gonna unbox the LG SC9S, unbox the LG SPQ8-S, and then I'm gonna set them both up with a little bit of an overview and then give you my thoughts on them. This is the LG soundbar, the SC9, and you can see it says perfectly designed to match the LG OLED Evo C series. Importantly here, it has a wall mount or desk or stand mount, right? So this should be paired directly for the LG OLED TV. I just bought a LG C3 77-inch OLED. Click on the box stats. We got 3.13 channel, 400 watts, high resolution audio, Dolby Atmos, triple up-firing front channels, dual type bracket, and subwoofer. So you can see it's compatible with the LG OLED Evo C2, C3, 55-inch, 65-inch, and 77-inch televisions. I'm recording this in March 2024, so I'm sure when this box was made, they didn't have the 2024 C4 out, so it's possible it may work with the C4, but the C4 just came out, so I bought last year's model, the C3, at a good price, and so I bought this to go with it, because I hate it when I have to have multiple remotes and things don't line up correctly. It says Team Lift, but I'm not a little bitch, so I picked it up myself, but I also probably gave myself one side of the box that says wall mount, and the other side that says stand, so I'll put the wrong side of the box front. Holy shit. Little bitch. Look at all that.
You bitch.
Alright, so let's take a look. What's in the box? Comes a little booklet, which is protected. Soundbar itself, which is also well protected. Overall, the packaging is good. I can't show everything, of course, but this box, I assume, of power cords and cables. I don't know. Oh yeah, so inside the big box is multiple other boxes. This is a subwoofer, I would assume. And this box is way bigger than I thought it was gonna be. This is light, so I'm assuming it is the stands, but that's a lot bigger than I thought it was gonna be, so that's good. You wanna make sure your stands are protected. So let me cut that open off camera and see what's in here. I don't want to show the whole unboxing, but a lot of it's full of these cardboard boxes with holes in it. I guess it adds some rigidity to it. It's kind of nice. So it's like a multi-layered stand system in here. Oh, that's big.
That's a big boy.
All right, so here's the whole setup, right? So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different containers. Make sure we count these little guys in here too. So what you have, essentially, this guy, that's the actual stand, and this part mounts to the TV. And then you have 2 different clamping options. I assume one's if you want a wall mount. Oh, I see. So it's a spacer if you have the 77-inch, and this is a spacer if you have the 65 or 55. I, again, have the 77-inch. So that's what I'll be using. I'm actually interested in myself. That's part of the reason I'm making this video, because I didn't see a lot of videos on this product. Oh, that's pretty nice. It tells you on the back exactly what goes where. So it says 2 TV, rear bracket, cable holder, spacer. So I don't know if the spacer goes in the front or the back, but it could be like that. That probably makes more sense. That clamps in there, and I assume this part goes in the TV, but we'll see. And there are holes here, so if you wanted to mount the soundbar to this. I'm not gonna wall mount. Mine's gonna be on a stand. So I'm not gonna screw the soundbar down. You can, but that also would make it more annoying to move it if you had to plug in stuff. So I'm probably not gonna do that. And then when you use it as a wall, so if it was just wall mounted, you would want this flat like this. But since I'm gonna have it on a stand, TV stand, it has this extra bad boy for support. All right, so that's a pretty decent sized little guy there. So I assume it clamps in somehow. I don't know how, but we'll figure it out. This one also has directions on the back telling you how it should be set up. So cable holder, 2 front bracket. So maybe the spacer goes on the back here, and then this mounts somehow. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. And then this part touches the desk as well. You can have a fairly sturdy, that's what I'm thinking. We'll find out though. And that way, you know, it should not fall down, which is good. So I was worried about this being a middle stand, but the width of it, I think, is pretty good. I think this is gonna be wider than the television itself comes with its own stand. And for the 2023 models, the G3 did not come with the stand. It was only a wall mount. But the C3 comes with a stand. But if you wanted the soundbar system, this stand's better, I would imagine, or at least made for it. This box, I assume, is just cables and screws. Yeah. So power cable, just 2-prong. Interesting. 2 separate 2-prong cables, one for the soundbar and one for the subwoofer, I would assume. Hey, comes with batteries. That's nice. Bexel, everyone's favorite brand, Bexel. Never heard of such a thing. Here's some screws. They are labeled M4 by 12 millimeter, and on here they're labeled. So this is a very nice packaging setup here. I dropped the batteries on my toe. I was making fun of these Bexels, and then I dropped them and it attacked my toe. So the soundbar does have its own remote, which I believe is substantially smaller, a lot smaller than the normal Magic remote for the TV. I haven't opened the TV yet, so maybe, but my understanding is you don't need this if you're using it with an LG TV, which I am, and I should be able to just use one remote, which is my original intent of having just the LG TV with the matched LG soundbar. Although I do like this remote, it's good size. Just a big power brick. The prong's only 2-prong, but then this guy's gonna be somewhere in the middle, I assume, for the subwoofer, but we'll see. And it does come with its own HDMI cable. That's not super long, but this is meant to go with the TV, it should fit perfectly, I would assume. And you would hope, since it's an LG TV that has HDMI 2.1, and this is an LG soundbar meant for that television, and then bring their own cable, you would hope it's gonna be the correct quality cable for it, because cables can be finicky when you're trying to get sounds in 4K and HDMI, CEC, and all that stuff working. So, all right, so we have a good setup here. At least the boxing party is looking pretty good. Now let's take a look and see what soundbar is looking like. So of course you can't see all of it. I'll get some extra footage that shows it better, but it does say over here, it does say designed for LG OLED. Since it's a 3.1.3 system, that means 3 front speakers, 1 subwoofer, and 3 up-firing speakers. So this is all plastic, there's no mesh here. I think on the higher end ones there's mesh on it, but looks all right. I mean, I like it actually. It's that same kind of plastic, I believe. It looks like brushed metal, but it looks pretty good. It's an LG look that I kind of like. On the bottom, there's the holes that you would screw into the bracket there. And there's 2 big gaps here, I guess, for cable work. And then your serial number and all that kind of stuff, right? So that's nice. And there are little rubber feet here and here, so it does set up appropriately. There's little holes in the back that I'm using as grip ports. So of course, Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos, Bluetooth, HDMI ports back here, I guess, or maybe that's some speakers, I don't know. You have an optical input over here, it's kind of hard to see. And then on here, I see 2 HDMI ports. This one's eARC, and this is HDMI. So an HDMI in and an HDMI out. And then a 5-volt, 500 milliamp USB port. I don't know what I'd use the USB port for, but it's nice that it has the HDMI in. And then, so let's set this up so you can get an idea of how all this is gonna look. So yeah, if you don't mount it and just set it on there, this is how it should look. And then you can of course move it still. And there is on the back, this would be mounted on the back of the television, of course. If you flip it this way and have them lined up how it would, you can see you'll have plenty of room for your wires around here and then through here. So it should have a nice clean wiring setup. So if you are wall mounting the TV, it should look nice and clean. Yeah, the power port for the power cable for this bar is on this side. So power cable and audio cable coming this way, HDMI ports coming this way, USB of course there as well. Should build a nice clean cable management if it was wall mounted or on TV stand. On TV stand, it should be super easy to cable manage it, so it's gonna look good. And then of course, if you mounted this here too, there's still this hole that could come through, or there might be a little gap in the middle there as well. So, and then we just have the subwoofer. So on top there are some icons there. I'll get better shots of that. Power button, I guess input, plus and minus, volume, play, pause, Bluetooth, and then I think Wi-Fi signal, what it looks like. Very nice looking subwoofer. So this is the right hand side fabric, which matches the satellite speakers I purchased as well. Front's fabric as well. Side, of course, is fabric. And then ported in the back, AC in, and that's only wire, right? So the rest is all wireless. There's a pairing button here. And that really seems to be about it. On the bottom are some feet little rubber feet. Try not to bang it around like I just did. And the top is that LG brushed metal look they like. It's plastic, but at least I assume it's plastic. So minimal LG branding. It's hard to catch it on camera, but it's plastic, but looks like brushed aluminum essentially. There, if you have an LG laptop, the LG Gram, they have a similar aesthetic. So yeah, that right there is basically the LG SC9 setup, right? There's still a remote, of course, and another bracket, but this is the bracket that goes to the TV and mounts to the soundbar. And then you have the subwoofer. My table's not big enough, and I already put them away. Yeah, I'm pairing it with the rear speaker kit, the SPQ8-S 140 watt 2-channel wireless connection. So I believe the brains of that will wirelessly connect with this, and then it should be 5.1.3 surround sound as opposed to 3.1. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Again, it's 2024. These are 2023 models. The satellite speakers may be separate. For me, one is I was really torn between LG and Sony televisions. The LG, and I wanted 75 and 77 inch, whatever in that range is what I needed. Nothing bigger, nothing smaller. I might like it bigger, but my setup's not really built for a bigger television at this point. And last gen, mini LED and OLED televisions, and the LG C3 was on sale. It was only $19.99 when I picked it up, and this was down to like 600 something on Amazon, and then the other speakers were $100 new, but on eBay. Essentially, I could buy my whole surround sound system and LG television, which got really good reviews, for basically the same price as I would pay for just a Sony television. So I decided to pull the trigger. Hopefully it all works out well. I'm hoping it's gonna work, and it's, I really wanted to have one remote. You can still have one remote, of course, with other systems, but I assume everything in the same family is gonna work better together. So yeah, I do like the looks of this a lot. I mean, the looks, obviously, aesthetically is not a huge deal, but I do like the looks of it, and I was really, the fact that it mounts to the TV, so if I wanted to wall mount it, it would work, and then the fact that it's kind of built to go with the television, all that combined didn't really sold it on me, so. Let me get it set up, and then we'll give you my thoughts. In the box of accessories that came with the soundbar, you have this little power brick. This DC port plugs into here. On this side, you have this piece. And there are also two separate cables. They're both just two prongers, but one of them has like a right angle plug, and one of them has like a straight shooter. I'm gonna assume the straight shooter goes into this guy that goes into the soundbar, and I assume the right angle will go into the subwoofer. All right, so here is the LG rear speaker kit, the SPQ8-S. As you can tell from this giant text, the box is kind of cool actually. It's a surround sound expansion with 140 watt 2-channel wireless connection. I recently purchased the LG C3 77-inch OLED television, and to go with that, I bought the LG SoundBar subwoofer, the SC9 3.13 channel high resolution audio with Dolby Atmos. So basically the soundbar and speaker that were built to go with the television, and if I'm not mistaken, I should be able to pair these with it and turn my 3.1 channel system into a 5.1 channel system. They had a previous one, SPK8, and now this is the Q8, and I think it's old at this point, or at least it was out of stock everywhere I tried to buy it. I found it on eBay. I just opened it, so it looks like it's brand new in the box. The setup was, so let's see how it goes. It should just be this little brains and then the two speakers. So it pairs with a couple different LG kits, but for me particularly, I'll be using it with the SC9 soundbar. Got a little wireless speaker booklet. Pretty good packaging. I mean, I hate these little things, but I guess it keeps it safe. Actually don't even have the television yet, so it's currently May 30th, 2024. So I bought these on Memorial Day sales, of course. It was out of stock basically every site I went to, Amazon, actually LG site. Someone said it was discontinued, but I don't know if that's true or not, or just out of stock, but I found it on eBay, a site that said it was an official LG reseller or wholesaler, something like that, whatever. Yeah, nice looking little speaker. It's got a fabric grill. The mount is on the bottom, and then on the back, you have these two little clips that would put your wiring in there. Second speaker looks just like it, of course. Nice little, I don't know if that's gonna come across in camera, but like a little fake brushed metal look to it. I think it's just plastic. It's fairly lightweight. You can push in on here, so if you're strong like me, you can poke a hole in that. Which I did see someone saying that they thought that was a downgrade because the previous ones were all metal, but I have no idea. But in my brain, I would think maybe the mesh cloth connection is better than metal for audio purposes, but who knows? I mean, someone knows, but not me.
Idiot.
Just a power cord. It is just a 2-prong cord, which is kind of nice. And then like this little weight thing, I guess. You put that on the cable to reduce interference, but I don't know why it wasn't in the bag. It was separate. And then here, I assume it's gonna be speaker wire. So yeah, I don't buy a ton of stuff off eBay, but this said it was brand new, and it said it was an official LG wholesaler, reseller, whatever, partner, something. And it does appear to be new stuff. So 2 sets of speaker wires. These are wireless, as it doesn't have to connect to the TV or the main system, but they are wired into this brain here. And then this guy is essentially what, again, at this point I haven't set it up yet, so this is how I'm assuming it's gonna work. Yeah, so this guy has the same kind of design. It's kind of nice looking. So I'm assuming the setup will be right like this setup here, right? So you'll have your wires here to here, and this is a power cord that will go to there. So essentially, this guy just has the AC in, a pairing button, and then the speaker wire ports. It does have little holes here that you can mount it on the wall, I guess, if you want to. Seems like it'd be weird, I don't know about that. And it does have feet here, so you can mount it up like this. I actually might do that, but I have a little stand that goes behind my living room. I have recliners, 2 recliners, so I have a little stand behind them that we could put these on. So basically these will be behind me and add an extra channel. Of course, look, these will be wired in here, but this guy the brains in here will connect with the soundbar and the LG SC9 soundbar, the C-Series soundbar that is meant to pair with the C-Series television. So yeah, so that'll be the setup. Of course, there's plenty of speaker wire space, so you could have it go away. I don't really need that much space, but I think I'll probably have them a couple feet apart. Directions may say what the recommendation are, but yeah, I like the LG products. Right now I used to have LG phones. I recently got the LG Gram laptop. Well, I had a previous one, but I have a new one now. LG Plus View portable monitor and the LG television, it doesn't ring, so. And actually, I wouldn't mind an LG fridge. I buy those myself. No one sent me anything free. At least LG's not. I wish they would, but anyhow, we'll get this hooked up. And I don't know if I'm gonna do a sound test. I mean, I'll do a sound test for me, of course, but it's hard to come across through YouTube cameras. Looks wise, I think they look pretty good. They're not too big. Here's just a 16.9 ounce water bottle, so you can see fairly small setup, which is good because it's gonna be behind where it's at in the home. I really don't want it to be too, standout-ish. So I'm digging the looks of these. I'm looking forward to it. So let's get set up and then we'll give you our thoughts. The directions could be a little clearer, but the spacer goes on this side, and with the stand feet going front, and then you screw into the back side here. I mean, it does tell you the sticker, but it wasn't super clear to me originally. The words on the spacer go here, and there's like a little plasticky stuff on the inside there. Once it's actually on the TV, it makes more sense. So the spacer just has 2 screws, and then there's to the TV, you have 4 screws that go in. 1, 2, 3, 4 on the outside. And then once you add the next bracket, it'll be this middle piece. So there's 4 screws on this big bracket here. There's 2 more holes for a cable holder. Make sure you run your power cord through this little, don't pinch it or someone go on. I normally have a little basket here that covers this, so I don't technically mind it, but obviously I can see the benefit of a system that doesn't have this device, and it's just the speakers by themselves back here, which every other soundbar I'm looking at has that kind of setup. It does have this little green light that whenever you turn it blinks when it connects, or when you turn it off, it goes red, of course. And of course, I could put this back here behind the system or in the cabinet initially, but again, I have a basket in front of it, so it doesn't really bother me. And there is only one power cord this way, right? It's just a power cord to this guy, and then these are speaker wire. Whereas if I had 2 satellite speakers with no box in the middle, they would have 2 separate power cords. So, but of course, you are restricted by having wires. For my setup, it doesn't really bother me because I have this little stand thing that I'm putting them on, right? And this box has feet on this side or on the bottom. So you can have it stand up like this. I normally have it like this because I said I have a basket in front of it. But if you want to turn it down like this, and then it is, less weird looking if you had it just on display like this. I mean, obviously you wouldn't want the speakers that close. But here is the soundbar set up on the stand with the TV. It fits perfectly on there. Obviously it's built for it. So I do like the looks of it. And even then, back there, I haven't done any cable management. We really can't see the cables when you back out. You can see there's a little bit of, or the stand there that you can see. But it really does a great job of, just looking made for it because it is. I mean, I would like it to be a little bit bigger since TV's so big, but the same bar works with the 55 inch and the 65 inch, or at least the 65. And this is the behind my room, right? This is behind where I would normally sit here. And these are the LG satellite speakers that I have set up. So once the box is connected, it has a green light, and I just have it set up here, right? Normally it's covered up. I'll uncover this to show you. And so these are behind my seating position, but really not the way my room is set up. It's not the best surround sound setup. I do like the sound bar, but the problem is I can never quite get the right sound out of it. So I have to constantly adjust. You have to go to the settings and then switch it from cinema to standard to AI Pro, Bass Blast, Game Optimizer, Music, Sports. And then there's also, you can turn on the WOW Orchestra. WOW Orchestra mode, that's where it ties the LG TV into the soundbar, right, at the same time. And it'll tell you that, right? And so sometimes it sounds good, sometimes it doesn't. Like for example, if I go to HBO, the bar doesn't sound great with HBO. I'm at volume level 26, and when they're talking, so that's level 29, and I can barely hear the conversation. This is Mad Max, but Dune's the same way. See, I had to turn on the subtitles because I couldn't hear a word they're saying. I am like literally a Sadie length from the TV, and even I can't hear it right now. And that is cinema, which is what you would expect, and WOW Orchestra, which is and the TV speakers. And again, they are kind of whispery.
I don't know, deep pumps can even be found out here.
And so again, at 34, I can hear it. But let's go off of this and switch over to Curb Your Enthusiasm.
You just need a nail, get a nail, hammer and a nail.
Yeah, so it's a weird scene to go to. But so same volume level. Let me go back to YouTube. And now, ECPU might be for you. It's just bonkers loud when you switch sources. So then you gotta adjust the volume every time you go somewhere. And that's pretty annoying. So you do have the LG SoundBar app, which is nice. You can see it recognizes the SC9S, and it doesn't seem to recognize the surround sound, so it's interesting. Oh, it says connected, yeah, so they're here. So it shows the subwoofer and the rear speakers. And then you can change, you can see what function is on, you can change, you know, from HDMI ARC to HDMI in to, you know, whatnot, right? And then you can change the sound effect here, and when you change it here, it would change it on the TV as well. You can actually adjust the volume here. You don't see the volume change. It does show you the volume change on the TV when you do that. When I'm adjusting the app, and you can see the volume going up on the right-hand side there. See, it's going all the way up to like 35 or whatever. Now, if I change the sound setting, I don't see it on the screen, but you will see it blink on the sound bar there. So I set it to AI Sound Dolby Pro, and let's see if I go to settings now. It does set to that same one, and if I change it here, you can see it change on the app at the same time too. So these are synced up. And then you can turn off the LED of the soundbar itself. That's not really a big deal for me. And then on the soundbar, of course, you can turn Alexa on. The software update on here, which I do like, is nice. And I did have an update when I first installed this. You can see your owner's manual. It's also nice. It just takes you to the page to download it, but it's still, you can see it in a little wall mount installation guide. And you can change the settings for each of the speakers. I've moved these around plenty of times trying to figure it out. You can turn surround sound on or off, which is also nice. It does have this calibration mode, and when you start it, it just starts making crazy noises. That's the TV making that noise, or the soundbar making that noise. I'm just canceling because I don't want to go through it, but it does all those crazy noises, and then it makes the setting. I don't know that I noticed a ton of difference with it or without it, but it's there. Oh yeah, you got a setting up here too, this little setting button. I can get to it. This setting button, you can go to sound settings, turn on these settings, DRC. You can adjust the settings to sync it right, and you can do the AI calibration again in the settings. You can turn auto volume off, so it makes it changes. You know, you can read what those words say. The settings by speaker takes you right back to the same page we were already at. And then other settings, you can use the TV remote. So I'm using a Sony, so it works fine. Auto on, power off, voice guide. So you can talk to it if you want. I don't really talk to things. You know, a lot of these things are just redundant of other ones. The LG Wowcast, I think that's if you have a actual separately dongle. I mean, that's if you want to cast your TV through LG, which I don't do that stuff anyhow. Sound diagnosis, you can do a little sound tests, device information. You can change the name of it. You can check your software version. You can initialize settings. You can just basically reset the settings to factory. Help will take you some troubleshooting. Turn on notification unless you want to get up. Oh, that's the home. Yeah, I don't care about that. That's just setting the home page up. Yeah, so I mean, it's not really a lot to do in the app. I mean, it's better than some devices don't have apps, so it's nice to see. And it's nice to know to get an update through here. It's very nice. You can turn on the nighttime, which will reduce the sound a bit so you can see it. There's not like a clear dialogue button. There's a clear voice pro here. And I have tried that, but it also makes it sound a little weird. So I don't know how much I like that. Now, it will work just fine. I mean, you would expect it, right? I did hook up a Fire TV Cube. I am primarily using the LG software, but I did set up a Fire TV. And of course, I have an Xbox and a Nintendo Switch in there. And when you switch to those, it recognizes the console. So you can turn the settings on, right? Of course, this is the TV, but when you go to game mode, you have a different settings menu there. The computer's beat me up. But you can switch down to all settings to get back to your normal setting screen. And you change the sound. I did change it to game, and I think there's a big difference in sound. That was a drastic. All right, so that was just the TV. It sounded pretty. I was surprised the TV sounded so well. I didn't realize it automatically defaulted. I don't know what happened. That may have been the setting I was messing with. The Nintendo Switch, of course, works as well. So playing some Animal Well. You can see if I go to my settings, all settings, and it is on the soundbar. So yeah, that switching the TV speakers at one time was just an accident. So yeah, the soundbar looks good with this TV. Of course, it's made for it. When you do like the Dolby stuff, you can hear the separation on the back speakers just fine, which is nice as well. But they are kind of small, right? So I mean, this is my hand, of course. And so they are a little small, but they work. I think the system's fine. If I might keep it, I don't know. The audio works fine. It sounds great when I get it dialed in, but I constantly feel like I have to dial it in between the various apps that I use. And I'm using the web OS. I did try it with an Apple TV, and I did try it with the Fire Stick or Fire Cube. This is the remote for the sound bar, but I don't use it. I mean, I do every once in a while, just mess with it just to see, but everything works perfectly fine with the LG remote, which is what I was hoping to have with the two systems together. Let's just look at Sadie while I talk about this the rest of the time. Instead of me just staring at a soundbar, let's just stare at Sadie. So the soundbar does sound good, but I do find I need to change the audio. So like if I watched Dune or Mad Max or Curb Your Enthusiasm on HBO, I have to have drastically different settings versus if I change it to Netflix, and if I watch, full on Godzilla -1 with the high quality sound, or if I watch something old like Seinfeld, I'll have to just change the settings per application. Like for example, on YouTube, I tend to set it to standard, and I do use Wowcast. When I go to Netflix, I'll put it on Cinema for like Godzilla, and then on HBO, I got to use that clear text one, right? And I don't want to do that every time I change to a different source. I had the 2.1 sound system. I never had surround sound before, so maybe I did all of them. I don't think you do. So I do have a couple other tests. I got the Roku system, the Sonos system, and a Samsung system on the way. And so part of me doesn't want to take the TV down and replace that stand and all that. So I'm kind of hoping that LG sounds better than all those. I can't imagine it will, but we're going to find out. Anyhow, I don't know if I cleared up anything, but you got to see Sadie, which is pretty great. So my thoughts are the price I got it for, the soundbar is pretty good. As far as being built to the TV, it's fantastic. The setup, as long as you're worried about the aesthetics of it, like how the bar looks at the TV, it's hard to find something that's going to look better than that with it, right? Because it's made for it, and the stand is going to fit perfectly symmetrical and whatnot. But certainly at full price, I would not be happy with the system. For the price I got it for, it's still good system. It's just slightly frustrating to have to mess with it all the time, right? And I don't want to mess with it all the time. I just want to come up here, turn a show on, and watch it. Oh, music. Also, I have listened to music on there. I don't think music sounds particularly great. I mean, it's first fine for the way it is, but I do have these Amazon Echo Studio speakers. Those definitely sound better for music than the LG system did. But that was Amazon Music through Amazon Echo speakers, right? And so they get way louder, the LG does, but as far as quality of sound, those Echo Studios, I have a pair of them, and they sound better than the LG speakers, I would think. Anyhow, I don't really know what my point is at this point. There's been a lot of videos on this product. I bought it. Sounds pretty good, but you can probably get better systems for the money. Oh, another problem is that the TV itself is pretty low. I think the stand makes it taller, so you'll have a hard time with other sound bars if you're not mounting it to the wall. So in hindsight, I wish I would just mount it to the wall, I think, and then I could change out the sound bar however I want. I'll probably have to end up mounting it to the wall now. But, all right, quick update at the end of this video. I did end up returning the LG soundbar and the LG satellite speakers, of course, right? So there's no use to keeping the satellite speakers. The LG SPQ8-S, they only work with compatible LG systems. So since I was returning the main system, I returned those as well, right? The main system, again, it's gonna blow your normal TV speakers out the water. That little stand is very cool, but price-wise, it wasn't worth it for me to keep it. As I mentioned, I tried the Roku surround system, the Sonos Arc with the Sonos Sub Gen 3, but not the full surround sound system, and then the Samsung Q990C. The Roku system was cheaper, and I thought it really kind of sounded better. The Sonos system is way more expensive, of course sounded better, but price-wise, way more expensive. The Samsung Q990C, I was able to get for a pretty good deal, and for the price that I got it for, it was no competition. It's the best of the lot, and that's what I kept. As I mentioned in the video earlier, I was worried a little bit about how low the TV with the LG C series television. So again, I have the LG C3 77-inch, and I was worried about using the default LG stand if it would set too low, but it doesn't. It sits pretty much perfect with the Samsung Q990C, so the soundbar does not block the screen, which is great. And there's an annoying thing that LG does where if you're not using an LG speaker, it no longer shows the volume numbers on the screen. It just gives you a generic plus or minus thing. And to be fair, Samsung does the same thing if you're not using Samsung speakers, but Sony will show you the volume. And I believe Vizio will too. But that was another benefit for the Samsung Q990C. There's a little LCD display on the front of the soundbar that tells you what number volume you're on. Again, not necessary. I guess you can survive without seeing what number volume you're on, but it's just something I liked. And it was another thing to help put it over the top. But this, I mean, obviously the Samsung Q990C is a much nicer soundbar than the LG SC9S. Yeah, I believe to get to the comparable version, LG version of the Samsung Q990C or Q990D, you would need to be the LG S95 TR is the current version, and I don't know if that's better than the Samsung or not. It will pair better with the LG TV, of course, but for the price I got it for, the Samsung Q990C was pretty great, and I'm pretty happy with it. So, all right, that's it. Thanks for checking me out.